minutes to get in here. Yeah. But while we're waiting, for those of you guys who don't know, I was actually originally a YouTuber in the crypto space. My channel is TommyWorldPower. That was kind of my initial segue into it. Of course, investing for myself, but sharing my knowledge with people. And I've studied the crypto space quite extensively, more than most people I know. There's different expertise in the crypto space, but I'd say I have a very good, well-rounded perspective, and that's what led me to create Energi. And for those of you guys who know about Energi, you'll know how powerful it is, and those of you guys who don't, time will show. But I have a strong finance perspective as well as technological perspective, and that's what kind of brought that together to create what Energi is. And for those of you guys who don't know, we've been out for we launched April 2018, and we are one of the best performing cryptos in the whole market. And we have a treasury that's generating over $1 million worth of energy per month. Our payroll is currently now over 200 grand, where we're paying over 50 contributors full time. This is fully self-funded from the cryptocurrency. This is extremely powerful. We have the best system for that in the space. So again, many people never saw it from the beginning, or some people are seeing it now. But yeah, okay. Well, I'll jump into it. There's looks like there's enough people to get going. So yeah. So again, just a brief intro. I've been in the crypto space for 6 years actively. It was actually 2012 that I was intrigued by it, but I wanted to see it a little more involved. The finance space was really not evolved. I remember I wanted a good liquid options market. This was in 2012. And of course, we still don't have that in crypto. This is part of the financial technology innovation that's coming. For those of you guys who don't know what's coming to the crypto space, you'll be able to have every asset that's on every stock market and a lot of new securitized assets, like 1% of LeBron James's performance or whatever, things like that, all securitized and traded by anyone in the world. Yeah, by anyone in the world. No limitations even on how old you are. This is just a small aspect of the type of financial technology that crypto brings. But you need to have a lot of other components that go along with that. And with Energi, I created a very strong kind of decentralized framework to achieve some of those things. So as an investor in the crypto space myself is what I was originally. Yeah, you might be able to in the future trade LeBron James. As an investor initially, I looked for the things. I examined all the top cryptocurrencies and try to determine what are the exemplary things within them. That's when I found Dash. Dash has a really good treasury. So for those of you guys who don't know kind of where this crypto space has come, it all started with Bitcoin. And of course, Bitcoin is the first generation. And God bless Bitcoin. It's very powerful, and I think it's a good thing. It's anonymous as well. But just because it's the first doesn't mean it's the best. And what I said right there already would be controversial to the majority of the people. I had this belief for pretty much since I discovered the crypto space. Within a couple months, I kind of came to that. And at the time, Bitcoin had about 90% dominance in the market, 95%. And right now, actually, it dropped down to 30%, which is a huge drop. And I saw that coming because although Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency, it is not the end all be all. There's a lot of things missing from Bitcoin. And a very simple one of those things that's missing is user protections. You can't have a cryptocurrency that people can just have their money stolen. This is something that's preventing cryptocurrency from really going mainstream. And so you do need the types of user protections and governance that comes along with it. And again, this type of thinking is already beyond what most people can accept, right? They think it should be, there shouldn't be any protections for it. It should just be like Bitcoin is. But this is just one thing that I see that needs to evolve in this space. And so Energi, we're innovating those types of things with governance. And this is kind of a major topic for a lot of people to try to understand. But the big picture of cryptocurrency is really competition for government, and many people don't see that yet. But that's what cryptocurrency does. It's demonopolizing fiat currencies. Uh, so my approach into crypto was investing, really trying to determine what is the most innovative stuff coming out there, what's really going to change the world. And from that perspective, I analyzed uh, pretty much every top crypto and sought to find all those things and bring them together within Energy. And that's what Energy is. And again, Energy, I was designing it since mid 2017, took about a year to get it launched, and now we've been live. Um, and yeah, we've been well performing. In the launch, that when we launched into a bear market, and it was a terrible time. And my portfolio and pretty much everyone's portfolio of other cryptos is down really bad, but Energy is one of the best performing in the whole market, and that's ties to because of the way that I designed it well financially, and also made sure the organization grows as it should. So I'm going to jump into some of these questions with that. Yeah, this is an AMA after all, right? So let me pull up my iPad here and see what you guys want to know. Can Energy become like Bitcoin or best? So I mean, yeah, I was just discussing that. I think again, Bitcoin is a tremendous first generation product. I don't think it's the end all be all. I think that just even in this next bubble, there's going to be a major backlog in its ability to handle transactions, as we saw in the last bubble in 2017. That was causing fees to go as high as $50. I paid a fee at one point that was about $40 because I needed a transaction to go through quickly. So I don't think it's the end all be all. I think there's a lot of innovations. So with Energy System, we have a treasury that we generate funds. This is how we pay our whole team. So again, for those of you guys who do or know, or many of you guys probably don't, Energy has a treasury, and the treasury is generating funds every month. And this allows us to pay for the organization. So the organization is self-funding. It's a self-propelling organization. And that's what pays for all our endeavors. Our developers, which our development team is growing very strong, our operations. We treat Energy like a professional business, and being in the crypto space for as long as I have, for a lot of the time, especially years ago, and still a lot to this day, it's quite adolescent. It's missing that professionality, and that's part of what we're bringing to the space, as well as caring about our users. That ties to user protections. I don't think it's okay for people to have funds stolen. When I see it, it breaks my heart, but that's the status quo right now. If you have a crypto and someone steals it, you can contact the Secret Service or FBI or whatnot, and you can wait years to see if you ever see your money. There should be better solutions than that. So let's see here, looking at the questions. What do I think of lower cap projects? So I'm an ICO investor, invested in quite an array of ICOs, and personally, I would have liked, what my takeaway from the 2017 era was there was a lot of hype and a lot of marketing, and people were really good at that, and they kind of came out of the blue with that, but the execution's been lacking. So that's why I'm happy I created Energy. Um, the direction that we're moving with our self-funding treasury is we will be seeding projects in the future and providing them the right support for these little baby projects to actually make it, because there was a ton of ICOs in the last bubble, and most are doing, I'd say over 90% are doing quite bad. A lot of them are down over 90%. It's really sad to see that when, they had such strong promises and expectations. So I want to see those tempered, and there's a ton of good ideas in crypto, you guys. There's a lot that's coming. Some people are putting space right on the blockchain, but you can connect it right to Ethereum, having essentially decentralized storage. So you can store as much as you want in a decentralized way. These technologies are coming, so it'll be like a World Wide Web that's not controlled by anyone. It's not a .com or a whatever controlled by a government. It's actually decentralized. These are the types of technologies that are coming. Let's see here. Smart contracts. Someone's asking what are smart contracts, some of the potential applications. Well, I was just discussing there. Yeah, and again, exchanges are a huge one. Having exchanges, there will be what's coming is we're actually creating our own exchange as well. Energy is creating a zero fee futures exchange. So this is kind of innovative. Right now, a lot of the crypto futures markets have quite a bit in fees because the fees are leveraged along with it. So um, BitMEX, for instance, has 100 times leverage, but the fees are 0.125%. But if you leverage 100 times, it's times 100. Obviously, you shouldn't leverage 100 times in your trade, but if you're doing it for a liquidity thing, maybe even then 100x is quite a lot. But the point is, you can have a futures market that doesn't charge fees. So how do you what are you doing if you're not making money by charging fees on an exchange? And this is some of the innovations of crypto, where we don't need to charge fees for exchanges. We just want to drive demand for the crypto, and that's what we're doing with Energy X. And I think this actually applies to different pursuits as well. But this is some of to kind of get your head thinking of some of the things crypto does, as well as with a well-designed treasury like ours. Let me see here. What can you do to protect people's assets? You can create a governance protocol and have a system where if there, like Ethereum had the DAO hack, for those of you guys who were around, that was in 2016, and it was one of the worst things that happened to Ethereum, and it really turned the Ethereum Reddit, which was the main place people were at the time, into like found a lot of ugly characters out. That it was a pretty sad time there. But what it revealed is Ethereum doesn't have a process in place for handling situations like that. It was 14% of all Ethereum that was stolen. And so the correct way is to have a governance system in place, especially for major things, that if that happens, then people who own the crypto can vote on how to proceed. That governance needs to be there. It's a critical part of crypto. And while I say this, it might seem like a no-brainer to you. Say over 90% of cryptocurrencies don't have a governance feature, and many of those that do are not really functioning well. So it's important to have a strong foundation for the governance. Let's see here. What will this do to gold and silver? Well, I love gold and silver. I'm a proponent of them, and I have been for quite a long time, for at least the past 10 years. The problem with gold and silver is they move so slow, right? If you're an investor, silver is still, I think it's like around $15 or something still. It's been the same price for what, 10 years, if not lower than what it was 10 years ago. And so I think eventually we're going to see a run in gold and silver, especially as we go into a time where central banks are going to have to print a lot of money, right? Interest rates are zero or going negative in some cases. The last kind of resort there is just printing a lot of money, and so that's going to create a lot of inflation. So inevitably, I think the price of gold and silver will go up when they're no longer being suppressed. But the big picture there is crypto runs circles around gold and silver. Bitcoin went up a million times in a 4-year period between 2009 and 2013. So that means if you bought $100 of Bitcoin and then you played Xbox for the next 4 years and did nothing, you would come back and have $100 million. Of course, that's assuming you got it at the cheapest in 2009. But that's kind of some of the paradigm shifts that go into it. A lot of people as investors are just waiting for gold and silver, and meanwhile they're missing the opportunity to become free. This is a tremendous time in the crypto space right now. As we near the end of 2019, the crypto space has been in a long bear market. So those people who are dollar cost averaging in are setting themselves up for the next bull market. This is not financial advice, so consult your financial advisor or whatnot. But it's just my opinion. I think we are at a low point in the crypto market, but it's not going to stay like this forever. We go through cycles. I think I feel like crypto is already coming out of it. I think 2020 is going to be a good year, and 2021 could be a phenomenal year. We're going back into a bull market, so it's hard to know exactly the timing, but it's a good time to position yourself if you're not. Let's see here. Trying to find an engaging question. You say you are or will be a self-funding treasury system. but do you still need people, investors, to purchase your coin? So the design of energy is the greater the demand we have, the greater the price of energy and the more capacity of our treasury. So our focus is to build services and whatnot that drive demand, and so that's why we're building EnergyX. Again, a decentralized. Actually, this is actually an exchange owned by Energy. We're going to start it centralized. We'll eventually move into the decentralized field, and in that we won't be serving the U.S. audience initially, just because there's so much regulation that comes with the U.S. But again, imagine an exchange where you can leverage, say, 10 times, and you don't have to pay a ton of fees for it. And imagine that you can have assets mirrored on that. You can have Apple stock mirrored on it. This is some of the technology of crypto. For those of you guys who don't know, you can use the technology to peg to an asset. So in Ethereum, there's what's called DAI. Excuse me, DAI is pegged to $1, and it's done by mechanisms that drive demand. If the price is lower than $1, it has mechanisms to push the price up, and if the price is above $1, it has mechanisms to push the price down. And it's just technology. So you can do that with any asset as well. So you can mirror the any stock or any commodity as well. And so in the future, I'd say within the next 5 years or so, someone hanging out in say Bali, where I am right now, could trade stocks of Apple, a 13-year-old kid, if he wants to. That's the future of fintech. Let's see here. What's the biggest value add of crypto? Scarcity, technology. The biggest value add of crypto, again, the big picture of it is a demonopolization of a fiat currency. That's the big picture of crypto, and then all the financial innovations that come along with that. Money. This is the big innovation, you guys, of crypto. Money really, until the modern day, governments really could control the money and control how everything flows. This is not the future. Through technology, money has become free, and so that's the big innovation of it. Different cryptos have different technologies, have different scarcity. I think the real major factor to consider that is valuable is the supply and demand. Look for those cryptos that generate high demand. Those ones are likely to be more aligned with the future. Avoid all the hype, the promises. And that's exactly what we saw in the last bubble, right? All these ICOs coming out with tremendous marketing. And I was an ICO investor in Ethereum in 2014. Back then, ICOs used to be more real, more legit, And then this last bubble, I can very much, it's very clear now, it was a lot of money grabbing by organizations, grabbing $20-30 million. I have no idea what they're doing. I mean, for those companies raising $20-30 million, should have executed far better than they have. I haven't even seen marketing really from them in the past year or two. Just crazy to raise that much. Let's see here. See here. You just have to remember, someone's asking about regulations and stuff. You have to remember this goes beyond the U.S., and a lot of places are not giving services to the U.S. because the U.S. Tries to push into it. But actually, crypto can be a really good thing as well. I don't think every crypto is trying to be a private blockchain, and this is something that I've explored quite a lot too. I explored Monero quite a bit. Monero is the best technologically advanced private cryptocurrency, but a lot of times that does tend to attract bad actors and whatnot. I had some crypto stolen from me to no fault of my own. I was just using a website, and it was an exchange, Ether Delta. Anyway, the website had a DNS hijack, and so. Yeah, so it looks like you're using the same website and everything, but it wasn't the correct website. But anyway, that's actually kind of evolved, and some of those people have been put in prison. If you see in the news, that's been released. But what was the reason I was mentioning that? I totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, I think yeah. So different countries will have a part in this. I think it's actually good to have a transparent blockchain. I think some companies or some countries will appreciate that because you can actually follow money, whereas with cash right now you can't follow as much. So I think some countries will actually welcome the innovation of crypto. And again, it's like you can't stop the technology. So like YouTube right now, right? Would the would media companies 20 years ago want a competitor like YouTube where people can come and anyone can come and speak their truth? Whereas before they controlled all the media, of course they wouldn't want that. But that's how technology just grows. So it's the same thing with Bitcoin. You know, if they could have killed Bitcoin, they would have killed it. And some countries made it illegal. China made it illegal, and now China just turned down and made it legal again. So um, yeah, I think there are countries that will embrace it, and those countries that do embrace it set themselves ahead technologically. Those countries that don't are just going to cripple themselves because people are going to use it anyway. It's a new technology. Think of this, you guys. In the future, you will use the money you want to use. Is something I said on a YouTube video I made about a year ago. But you'll use the money you want to use. You don't have to use dollars in the future. You don't have to use euros. You can pay with whatever currency you want, and merchants can accept whatever currency they want, and there'll be an exchange in between that facilitates that. And so yeah, those currencies that you support the ideology behind what they're doing, or maybe you just for whatever reason you like it, that's you'll have that power in the future. This is the again energy. Money is just a form of energy, and this is why I called energy energy. And many people don't understand that money is just energy. It's not good or bad. Some people are like, oh, I hate money. That's like saying you hate food. You know, there's money is just it's just energy. It's how you channel it, how you earn it, right? How you spend it, and how you invest it. Are you doing good things in those? So um, let's see here. Do I agree with experts that 99% of projects will fail? Yes, yeah, I do. It's kind of yeah, and we've seen it. I've seen it since. You know what's actually really funny though is when the bubbles come back, like when this next bubble comes back, a lot of these projects that are dead right now will just come back to life. They'll reanimate as if they were never dead. So I expect to see that as well. But in terms of actual substance, yeah, pay attention to the underlying factors of what projects are doing. How much are they growing? How much, can you visibly see their growth? Is it not just talk? These are things to pay attention to. Let's see here. Crypto ETFs and trusts. I mean, yeah, there's the GBTC, which is that's a trust. But there's already a vehicle out there for that. I think there'll be more, but I've been kind of waiting for those for so long, and I don't think it will make a huge difference, to be honest. It's welcome to have, but not huge. Too many cryptos, 3,000 plus. Yeah, there's a lot of, back in the day, cryptos were, there was no shame in just having one person randomly make a crypto that they're working part-time on. That was kind of the atmosphere around 2013, 2014. Now it's expected that a crypto should be a little more professional. But many of those cryptos don't have. So this ties to what we've done. You guys, you need to have a treasury. This is why I created Energy. Most cryptos don't have a treasury, so they're working off volunteer work. So some guy's doing it part-time, and then one day he might just stop working on it. And that's happened so often. You need to have a crypto that's funding itself, that's paying for its own development, able to do that. This is necessary for I'd say pretty much any self-respecting crypto. And I'm sharing these ideas because I want more cryptos to do it. I want to see the world evolve. I want to see the crypto space evolve. Let's see here. How will government-backed cryptos compete with existing cryptos? I see. The thing though about government money is they're going to have to create a lot of inflation. And so whether that's through crypto or through traditional fiat, I think the result's the same, is that those fiat currencies are inefficient. I'll use the United States, for example. For every tax dollar, a quarter of it's going to war. And we've seen that, right? Since these wars started almost 20 years ago. It's been a complete waste of money. It hasn't served the taxpayer. And then we're spending another quarter of every tax dollar for essentially for Medicare, which is an inefficient healthcare system. The healthcare system in the U.S. is not good. There's a lot that's completely ignored in terms of healthcare. I've been on a pursuit of health pretty stringently the past years. I went to one of the best hospitals in the world for a health issue I had, and they want you to do all these tests. A lot of those tests, by the way, aren't good for you either. Um, and then they sit you down at the end. They sat me down and they're like, "So half the time we know what's wrong with people, and half the time we don't. We don't know what's wrong with you." And basically, I have some chronic pain in my body that, as I've explored, is it ties to energy blockages, and this ties to Taoist and Eastern medicine. They understood this stuff really well, but it's not even talked about in the States. So these are where we need kind of shifts. And so energy has a part of it called energy impact, and we're also seeking to bring that knowledge about health and whatnot, share it with you guys. I've worked with some really good teachers and whatnot, sharing that knowledge. Energy impact is a self-funding treasury. Essentially, I give part of the energy generated each month, and that pays for these endeavors. And we're doing beach cleanups in Bali every week. We work with 2 orphanages, feed them, hang out with them. We want to. This is how the world changes. Let's see here. Um, is energy interlopable with ILP? I actually don't know what ILP is. Yeah, let me know what that is. Eventually, we do seek to have it to be interlopable, but we're moving into the 3.0 right now, which is moving over to essentially Ethereum type of code base with also our governance in there, our funding in there, and we have pretty much one of the highest masternode in staking. So if those of you guys who don't know, if you have crypto, you can put it with some cryptos like ours, you can put it in a form of savings account and get a return from that. So our masternodes are currently around 60% a year, and our staking is around 30%. A masternode, you need 10,000 energy. So the returns higher if you get to that. That's kind of the market's kind of evolved in that way. Um, but yeah, uh, hopefully I answered your question. Let's see here. Money pouring into Bitcoin mining farms. Yeah, I'm not. So that's one thing of crypto too, right? Of Bitcoin, the proof of work mining system. I don't think that's necessary. I think proof of stake is something I've said for a while. I think proof of stake is actually more secure than proof of work, and the idea there is you can more to take over the Bitcoin network, which is very difficult to do for either proof of work or proof of stake for any significant, well-distributed crypto. But to take over the mining power, here's an example: is there was a hack, and some exchange was discussing rolling back the blockchain, and they mentioned it was something they considered doing because they had the power to do it. Um, that's that speaks to how you can control a proof of work system. To do that with proof of stake, you'd have to acquire um, a very large stake in the crypto. So it's much more difficult to do that than to lobby some miners to roll back a blockchain. So I think proof of stake is actually more secure, and it's environmentally friendly. Of course, proof of work, we're just burning energy. So I don't think it's necessary. I think it's good to have uh, also conscious for our environment as well. And that's part of the shift I want to see in the world. And that these are part of my core drivers for energy is really bringing consciousness back. Consciousness is lacking in a lot of money, right? So again, the money we use is the energy you use. So if you're earning $50,000 a year and spending something close to that, that energy is flowing through you. This is really the philosophical understanding of money as energy, and rather than going through a system, rather than that money hanging out in a system that isn't really serving the people using the money, it can totally be in a system that serves the people using the money, the people holding that money, benefiting from the growth. And so again, these are some of the technological changes that crypto brings, kind of paradigm shifts that people haven't experienced yet, but are coming. Uh, see here. How is Energy 3.0 going to differentiate itself from all the smart contract platforms? There seems to be a lot of competition. No, yep, there definitely is, and it's not just one way. So we're starting as again, we're working with the Ethereum code base, but if there's a better platform, we'll shift to that in the future. I'm not attached to the platform, whatever the most dominant is. I see it more like a programming language that people are familiar with than anything. but the ways we differentiate ourselves is having good governance tied to a good distribution, a good governance program tied to good distribution, and then we have the best funding system in place. 40% of all energy that's created goes into our treasury. So even at our 50 million market cap we're at right now, which isn't enormous in the crypto space, we're about 80th right now. But even at that, again, we're generating $1 million a month. Our payroll is about 200,000 a month, and it's paying again for about 50 people. But as we grow, we're going to continue to grow. We already have a cybersecurity department. That's our defense. We're going to keep building that out. These are people to protect our space. It's something that very few, I haven't even seen any other crypto doing it, but this is the type of defenses you need that a hacker thinks twice about stealing energy from someone, because if they do, they're going to be hunted down. We had someone preying on some of our users in our Discord channel, and we put a $50,000 bounty on him. This we take it seriously. We want to protect our user base. These are things that all crypto should do. You have to protect your users. So that's just one example. I haven't seen any other smart contracts doing that. Beyond that, we have, again, the best master nodes and staking rewards. So this is incentive to hold on to the crypto. Gives a strong incentive there. And then moving to build the Energy X as well is also another huge thing. I think a lot of cryptos sometimes move into a certain direction, but if that endeavor pays out, great. But if not, what are they left with? I want to focus on those things that are really going to make the biggest impact. That's what I try to focus on. That's what I seek to have my team focus on too. Let's see here. Energy is not a security. We actually are one of the very few cryptos that did not conduct an ICO. I didn't raise any money. If I wanted to, I could have raised $20 million for Energy. So when the space was hot, I didn't want to do that. I wanted Energy to just be launched. So we were launched just like Bitcoin, just started emitting coins. So I wanted a fair launch. So I'm proud of that one. Let's see here. Any possibility for shared masternode staking? I would tell you guys to be very careful with any shared services. This is a very common place where the services either have bad security or sometimes they're scams. So be really careful giving your coins to someone else, another service to manage. You should, if at all possible, keep the coins in your own possession. If you don't have enough for a masternode, just set up a server. It's $5. Setting up a server these days is really easy. It's a couple clicks of your mouse, and set up a server and keep those coins in your control. And then let them grow. When you have enough for a masternode, do that with a masternode, again, on your own server. Let's see here. You said Energy Treasury generates money each month. What does this mean? There's no magic money tree. You mean you are dumping coins in the market to pay devs, right? Okay. So Bitcoin has emission, right? Bitcoin's emitting every 10 minutes Bitcoin, and that whether those miners hold the coins or sell them, a lot of times they're selling them to pay for their operations, right? Mining is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So Dash came out with this innovation where they said, rather than giving all that money to miners, let's have a small fraction of it for a treasury to pay for our things. So that's a really good idea. But Dash only put 10% to that, and Dash has also been around for a while, so their inflation is lower. So there's only a small amount of coins going to the treasury per month. So Energy, we're giving 40% to the treasury, and since we're newer, we're younger, it's 1 million coins that's being released every month. 40% of that goes to the treasury. We're actually not using most of the treasury right now. We'll be holding on. We have about 4 million coins right now in our treasury reserve. And when the next bubble comes, then when the market's hot again, then we'll sell those OTC and secure our funding for the next, 5 years or more. But at that point, we'll be selling quite a large amount of energy. I'd say hundreds of millions of dollars worth. Currently, we have about 4 million energy in there, and it's worth about 10 million. So, but every month we're generating more than enough to pay our team, we're paying about half our pay is in energy and half is in Bitcoin, because people have to still eat, so they use the Bitcoin to pay for whatever they need to, and they hold on to the energy. So this is how our team is funded, and I'm really proud of our team. Again, for those of you guys who don't know, aren't familiar, we have a very elite team. It's one of the most professional teams in crypto. I'm very proud of it. very well designed, very yeah, well run. If you guys pop into our Discord channel, see for yourself. We have 24/7 community moderators there do an excellent job. But we have about 17 at this point. That part of our organization grew really rapidly. Let's see here. Tommy, Bitcoin is bad for the environment. Why should we support those networks that consume so much energy? Yeah, I think again, that's good forward thinking. This is again, Bitcoin was the first generation. I have a lot of love for Bitcoin. Was it the best? Is it the best way for crypto to be? I don't think so. I think that's part of it. You know, we need to be conscious of the environment. I'm conscious of the environment. Yeah, so better safe than sorry with our planet, right? You can't really just buy a new one of those. Let's see here. The Interledger protocol. I haven't followed up on them. I haven't heard too much about them. I'm pretty tuned in the crypto space. Haven't heard much of them, but I would imagine that I haven't seen any dominance from them. So we'll see if they manage to do that. Why should people use energy over other cryptos out there? Well, that's a good question. That ties to basically why should you use. So this is the philosophical question of money that will kind of come to people's heads in the next 10 years, that you will have the choice of what currency you want to use, and by using that currency you're supporting that. Again, money is energy. So what are you supporting, and that's what the world is gravitating to. That's still a bit of a ways away, but it's coming. How are you paying 30% and 60%? You charge no fees. The only way you pay this is money comes from new investors. No. So we're releasing 1 million coins per month. Okay, so 40% of that goes to the treasury. So good questions, by the way. So if you guys don't know, 40% goes to the treasury. And again, we're only using about a fifth of that treasury right now. So most of it is stored for when there's enormous demand in the market, which will come in the coming years. And even if it doesn't, we're surviving, we're thriving, where most cryptos are hibernating still. They've been hibernating for 2 years. We're growing quite a lot. So anyway, 40% goes to the treasury, and then 40% goes to masternodes, and 10% goes to staking. So from that, so every month, if you have a masternode, 40% of the new coins submitted are going to masternodes. There's about 1,000 masternodes online. There's a little less than that, just as a ballpark. So 1,000 masternodes splitting up 400,000 energy. That means a masternode is getting 400 energy per month. So a masternode costs 10,000 energy. So if you're making 400 energy per month times 12, that's 4,800. So that's a little less than 60%, but we don't have quite 1,000 masternodes. We have 900 something. That's why our masternode reward is 60%. And staking is a similar setup, but it's easier to stake than have a masternode because you only need 1 energy to stake. You need 10,000 energy for a masternode. A masternode also gives you a vote in the network. That's where the governance comes in and also functions as a second layer. So that will allow us to have a extremely strong, extremely fast and strong network. It's 2 layers. Bitcoin is just 1 layer. We have that first layer, but we have that second layer to do more advanced things. That's how it works for your payout and whatnot. And again, we've actually been through, a lot of people say, oh, well, that's a lot. You know, why doesn't your price crash, right? Like most cryptos. And I think a big part of that is because we've actually performed really well. And I'm really proud of that. We've done a tremendous job in marketing and development. We've actually followed our roadmap. I think that's more than most cryptos can say. I intended energy. I just so you guys know, for those of you guys who don't know, I didn't need to make energy. I was already very successful without energy. I self-funded it to make it. I decided to start working on it on the 4th of July, 2017. It came from a place of, desire for independence for the world, right? That's what the 4th of July is about, independence. And I just saw our world, and I saw what was needed. And rather than relying on another project to do it, I just started working on it. And it took about a year to make, to get it out. And then once we were launched, it's not like it was over. Then we're launched into a brutal bear market. The market just went down the whole year we launched. So most projects at least had the benefit of a huge upsurge and whatnot. We didn't have that. So it was just down pressure, but we persevered, we pushed through it. And I see about a year ago, it was a much more of a tough time, but we pulled through, and now we're really starting to gain traction, and I'm really happy about that. Uh, yeah, see here. Yeah, check out our Discord channel if you guys haven't. We have a rain channel. People are hanging out there all day, just talking, and you can get a little bit of free energy there, just hanging out and talking. So that's part of our community building, where a lot of our community hangs out. Uh, let's see. Yeah, our roadmap. You can, so our website is www.energy.world, energi.world. You can see our roadmap there. You can see our team, see what we've done, see where we're going. On our homepage, we've got there's 3 videos on it, and they're all pretty short, and they give you a very good idea of what energy is. So check that out if you haven't. Yeah. How can a cryptocurrency be sustainable long term? I think just pretty much exactly like I said. If you have so this is something I say in one of my videos, but if Bitcoin had a model like ours, like a treasury system like ours, they'd have billions of dollars to spend per year. So imagine what type of organization Bitcoin would have if it could pay for thousands of developers, thousands of cybersecurity experts, thousands of marketing contributors, as well as just a ton of marketing out there. That's the future of crypto. A crypto can use inflation as a form of self-funding mechanism. So most cryptos have inflation, but rather than utilizing that inflation, they just give it away. Like Bitcoin just gives away its inflation to miners. And so the shift there is, rather than just give that money away to miners, you don't need to do that. You can use the treasury. As far as how, the money being spent for security in Bitcoin, yeah, you could do that. But again, I'd say our proof of stake security is even stronger than proof of work security. So I think proof of stake is stronger security, and you have that benefit. Let's see here. Well, Energy endorse a staking pool utilizing 3.0 smart contracts. We'll have some good innovations for staking in 3.0. We'll have delegated staking in there. So you'll still have your coins, but it can be staked. So those are some things that are enabled with smart contracts, and that's coming. Hi, Tommy. I just, for the first time, to check on the price of energy, got interest to buy, but I can't on Binance, Coinbase, or Wirex. So KuCoin is the most dominant exchange we're on right now. We're working with exchanges to get on more, and yeah, that's part of the bootstrapping. Again, I didn't do an ICO, didn't pair up with any huge exchanges to come out with. We just bootstrapped it, and so in that, we're talking to pretty much every top exchange. And as we've been performing quite well, I expect for us to get on more and more here in the coming months and year, when our 3.0 comes out, and it really starts to sink in how well-rounded Energy is with all the combination of features. So what Energy is going for is what pretty much the other top cryptos are going for, but we'll have it, and a lot of them don't have it. They've just been promising it for years. So once that really sinks in for people, I think we'll do really well, and other exchanges and everything gets a lot easier. uh, do you think the future of cryptos is an investment or as a currency? Um, I think cryptocurrencies are the most potent realm of investment in the world. However, it's very high risk, high reward. So um, I think the big future of it is, again, the technological innovation it gives us. Again, as humanity, that we're not bound by a system that we don't like and we don't want to support. How many of you guys watching this love that in the U.S. we've spent $8 trillion on war, $8 trillion in the past 20 years in war. It's we all know that that's a terrible use of money. That we're arguing over all these other things in the U.S. The healthcare system. There's so much that's wrong. The pharmaceutical industry in the U.S. controls the doctor's curriculums. It's a lot of it's just systems to make money. It's not actually a system that cares about you as a human to take care of you. And I think that's the future of money. You will use money that actually supports systems that take care of you, that you appreciate, that are doing things for you. You're not bound by, you won't be bound by older currencies. That's the long term future of crypto, of money. Um, the airdrop will be released this quarter. So we're working on that. It might be toward the end of the year. We're working on it as soon as possible. We did a big airdrop. For those of you guys who don't know, we released 1 million coins about a year ago. Again, energy is about 250 now. So current price, that's about $2.5 million worth of energy we released, and we have around 3 million more energy. That it's all been allotted. We had probably 50,000 people sign up. It will be releasing about $7.5 million more dollars worth. It's 3 million energy be released. So that's coming up. I did that instead of doing an ICO. So instead of raising $20 million, I opted to give out a large amount of the initial supply. So yeah. Will I say staking in the future? I'd say that's definitely, staking is a big part of the future. You're holding on to a crypto, getting a return for doing so. It's not so different than the interest rate you should be getting from the bank. How will energy sustain its price? Demand has to be higher than supply, but because supply is limited, demand will not be powerful because supply is unlimited. So yeah, once again, so we've went through the hardest part of our inflation. When you're doing a system like ours, where we just started releasing coins like Bitcoin, right? We didn't do an ICO, we didn't do a pre-mine. And so the highest inflation is at the beginning. The first 6 months, the first year was the worst. And we made it through there. Our inflation is significantly lower than. It's still high, but we've went through the hardest part. And so if you actually look at that from a velocity standpoint, now it's getting easier and easier. So and that will continue. Let's see here. Coin burns. Yeah, we have no plans to do coin burns currently. I know they function similar to staking in kind of in the financial sense, but yeah, we have no plans for that right now. Crypto is just another .com bubble. Man, a lot of you guys don't like crypto. Yeah, we went through an ICO bubble that actually did feel a lot like a .com bubble, and maybe worse in some ways. But I think actually the next bubble that happens, which will probably happen within 3 years, will be worse than the last one. So maybe that will resemble even more like a .com bubble. But regardless of which, there's a lot of projects that aren't good out there, and a lot of them make a lot of noise, right? And I think it's paired up with a lot of projects come out there with huge lofty promises and then fail to deliver. And I have a portfolio, and that includes some of those projects. It's pretty much the ICO market's made it inevitable that anyone who bought any ICOs has a decent chance holding some of those. But regardless of which, there's also good quality ones out there. So I think everyone should always do a lot of research, determine which ones really have a good team and are solving the right problem too. There's a lot of cryptos that just wanted to be the next big smart contract platform. Many of those, maybe some of those have come out and some of those haven't, but most of those have seen very little adoption gained. And so, yeah, it's important to pay attention to real value adds. It's difficult, of course, as any individual like us, but that's the game. Or go for the higher cap ones. Those tend to be less risk. That's always a good approach too. Or do diversify. What parts of the world? I'm trying to focus on crypto questions, the crypto AMA. Just so you guys know, what part? Was the question? What parts of the world are adopting crypto the fastest? Any insights about why? I feel like it's Southeast Asia, and these areas are adopting it fast, and that's because they don't have the technologies we have in the States, and we really haven't seen this huge surge yet. But I think it's going to come. Like, I'm currently in Bali, Indonesia, and a lot of times people don't use cards here. So having crypto with a QR code I think is the future. That's already what goes on in China quite a bit. So I think that's ultimately going to happen. Also, the younger people, like teenagers, if most of us, pretty much none of us when we were teenagers had our own money, we had to use our mom's credit card or something if we were. But in the future, every teenager will have, or even younger than that, will have money and be able to use it. And that's kind of the future of money as well. It'll be probably easier here in these countries because they're a little more loose with laws here. They don't enforce wearing a helmet when you're driving a motorbike as much as a Western country, that type of stuff. So I think it'll take off in these areas. Yeah, Singapore. Some of these countries are smart because they're welcoming crypto, and those that do are going to do really well. Does energy depend on Bitcoin? No, we don't depend on Bitcoin. Yeah, if Bitcoin fails, Hello Energy Stand will be around and growing just the same. I don't think Bitcoin will just fail. I think Bitcoin it's running into transaction capacity, and its growth is going to be inhibited by that. So I don't think it's just going to don't think Bitcoin's flat out dying. I think it'll kind of fade away over the next 10 years or maybe a bit more. And that'll also be seen again when the next bubble happens and everything's heating up. Bitcoin is at its capacity already. And so once those Bitcoin fees go back above $10 a transaction or so, which will happen, that's when you're going to see people migrating off Bitcoin again, going to Ethereum and other platforms. So, and that's where Bitcoin loses dominance. I saw it happening last time. It's going to happen again. It's going to be much worse this next time. So right now it's kind of quiet in the crypto space. It's not growing that fast, so it can manage it. But once it heats up, some point in the coming years, yeah. I heard that Venezuela has been approached by a few cryptos, but failed a few times. How will we know energy will be adopted? All the best to the team, though. Yeah, so Venezuela is a great example of a good market for crypto. They're suffering hyperinflation. Their currency loses value so fast. So they need technology like this. And so Venezuela is one of the markets we're going to approach after we finish launching our 3.0, which will be by the end of this quarter. Then we're going to start looking at Venezuela as a market to get them using crypto. And that's where our treasury comes in, because we can fund initiatives to do that. There's already been some ground made in this by other cryptos. We'll see, what worked for them and what didn't, and find out the best way to approach that. But that is a potent market for cryptocurrency adoption, and we are looking at it. My apologies if this has been asked, but can you tell us of some of the challenges you guys are currently facing? I'd say it was much worse a year ago when we were really in the depths of the market. We weren't that well known, and pushing through that time while being funded with the treasury is a challenge. But we've grown from that. At this point, I'd say I feel pretty positive about where we're going. One of our bigger challenges is just getting on some of these bigger exchanges. That's going to drive a lot of awareness and demand. We know there's a lot of pent up demand. Binance had a community coin vote for coins to get listed on there, and we had the highest participation rate. We had 1.7K likes on the tweet. The next crypto had like 400. So we know our community is out there and strong. It's just a matter of getting on some of these. As an organization, we have some internal things. We're seeking to structure that really well. But all in all, I feel, I'm really proud. I feel really positive with our team. For any of you guys there who know our team or know the types of people we have, it's exceptional people. I'm really proud. Our energy impact, led by Parker Helene, superb guy. Ryan, our president, extremely good at tech and guiding everything related to that. Omer, who's in our operations. We have a very good team, and it takes time too, you guys. A lot of these projects that come out and they just have these teams, it takes time for a team to really learn how to work with each other and flow well. And we're really well positioned in that. We're one of the few cryptos really growing in this time, you guys. Most cryptos, there's a lot of cryptos out there right now on life support. They're just running out of money. It's how long do they have left till they run out of money? We're in a completely different situation. We're one of the few cryptos like thriving. If this bear market continues for even years longer, if anything, it's good for us. We can keep growing at the rate that we're growing at. Well, many cryptos can't do anything. So I'm really proud of the design we have and the team we have executing it. What time is it? 11. Okay, I'm going to take another question or two. It's 11 o'clock at night here. I wanted to get on because I know there's a big audience in the US, so I wanted to be there for you guys. So let me take another question or two and wrap up. People invest their money on cryptos which feel are going to go up in price. Do you see energy going up in price in the following months? I won't speculate on price. I would say if anything, just look at what we're doing, and that take a more value investing approach toward it and look at what we're doing, look at how we've grown. We're very transparent. We have our treasury history from the time we were born until now. You can see how we've spent our money, how many people we had. We started off with just our team was probably 5 people or so. We've grown to over 50 people and growing really well and very healthy. We have in our treasury reserve about $1 million worth of Bitcoin that's just generated through our market making. So we're healthy. We have funds for very comfortably another year. That's at our current team size. So I'm proud of, yeah. So do your own research on anything you do. I made Energy because I was tired of waiting for other projects to understand the importance of having all these components we have. It seems like a no-brainer to me to have a really good treasury, but most smart contract platforms don't even have a treasury. I'd say almost very few of them even do. They don't see the importance of it, but I see the importance of it. Treasury is something that allows you to generate, again, potentially billions of dollars per year to pay to support your ecosystem. That's really powerful. Why does no one else see that? I don't know. But well, we have a design for that. Are there scams in the top 10, and when will Energy be in the top 10? When do you think? I don't know about like outright scams or anything. I don't want to give much attention to that, but I think we can all agree that a lot of cryptos, and I've seen for myself, have made these big promises in 2017, and the vast majority have failed to fulfill those promises, and some have just miserably done so, and that's really it actually created a lot of distrust in me toward the crypto space, because the marketing was never like that until the last ICO bubble, right? That the marketing was just there, but the execution I've seen from so many projects has been totally lacking. So just tread with caution in the crypto space, you guys. Tread super with caution. Always do your research, really get to know it. In whatever you're doing, be like you guys are hearing from me. I know people are here who who are part of the energy community. They're here because they want to know what's going on. So anyone out there who isn't part of the crypto space or really into it, do your research with whatever project you're aligning with, and make sure that they're going in the right direction. Make sure they're not just burning through money and it's just a matter of time till how long they run out of money. I think that's become very clear that that's a dangerous situation, and that they're not on the right path. Let's see here. Let's take one more question or two. What is the advantage of a war chest, and does Energy have that? That would be the treasury. Yeah, we have a treasury. We have the best treasury, the best returning treasury in the space. So yeah, we have and that generates a war chest from us. Again, our treasury alone has generated, at this point, we have in excess of $1 million for our team endeavors. Yeah, you guys, trust is a big one. The big picture that I say this in one of my videos as well, but it's the quality of leadership, you guys. Organizations that really want to do things the right way. Something that I've seen in the crypto space and experienced now after this last ICO bubble is how many people were just there because they smelled the money and wanted to get in just for the money. I didn't do an ICO, I saw what everyone was doing. I was an ICO investor. I invested in dozens of ICOs. I know the ICO space very well. I had a team working for me researching ICOs. many of those ICOs raised about $20 million. I purposely didn't want to go that route because I didn't create energy for the money. You know, I wanted to make energy to change the world. Um, and I'm open about the designs and all this for energy because I want competition. I want people to. This is an evolution of humanity in a way. We're not bound. Before, money really controlled a lot of what we do, and we didn't have power over that. But that's changed with this technology, as technology is done for other things. So that's the big takeaway I'd leave with you guys: is understand the power of cryptocurrency. I originally approached it from an investment perspective. I kept a list of the best investments in the world, and I still do. There's been nothing that's passed crypto. I had crypto on my list in 2012, and then I missed Bitcoin going from $10 to $1,000, and that was my kick in the butt that this is something that needs to be explored and understood. And so at that point, I committed to it and just researched it every single day. And so encourage you guys to do the same. Like, take it seriously, be grateful for it. If you are an investor, it's the most potent realm of investment in the world. You should be learning about it. You should seek to understand it. You should try to think about where it's going in the future. Yeah, just have your guard up. There is a lot of there's straight up scammers in the space. There's people trying to have you send them coins and they say I'll give you more coins back, or just be very careful. And that's again part of the fact that there's not the governance that needs to be in the space. There's not the police per se. It does need to exist. You know, there needs to be protection. Things like we've done where we don't have tolerance for people who are trying to steal energy from other users. We don't have tolerance for that, and we will seek to bring justice and prevent that in the first place. And so these are, yeah, some things to consider. Yeah, I enjoy talking to you guys. It's been quite a while since I've done one of these. Yeah, the next market crash is looking like it's upon us. So that's a good time where we see how crypto does. But I think it will start to serve as a safe haven. If not right after that, then within the next year, people are really going to start warming up to it. So, all right. Thank you guys. You guys have an awesome night, and see you on the next one.